Hi, my name is Oscar and I'm the CEO of Libra Education. At Libra, we work to support students, hopefully a little bit like yourself, to achieve your dream places at university. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about something that's very close to my own heart, and that is essay prizes. Now, believe it or not, a few short years ago, I was sat where you are now, thinking potentially about the future, about what I might want to do. I was maybe starting to think about how I would achieve it. How would I actually prove that I should get that place at university over anyone else around the UK? Well, if you're sat in that similar circumstances, I'd like to tell you that essay prizes can help you on that journey. They can help to provide evidence that you genuinely are the best candidate for that position. Now, thinking back again to when I was sat in your position, if you'd asked me what an essay prize was, I would have said, I don't know. If you'd asked me why I should do it, I would say I've got absolutely no idea. And finally, if you'd asked me how to do it well, I would have looked at you with a blank face. Now, I'm sure many of you are a bit more advanced in your preparation than I was. But if not, today, myself and my colleagues are going to help to explain the answers to those questions, hopefully give you a helping hand en route to your university applications. So let's start at the beginning. What is an essay prize? Well, fundamentally, it is what it says on the tin. It's a competition that is run by many different organisations. They're typically targeted at students in Year 12 and Year 13 as a chance to explore subjects and to provide evidence for your university applications, to include in UCAS. That's the competition. What is the essay part? Well, as you can imagine, there's essay prizes for English, for history, philosophy, the sort of subjects where you can imagine writing long essays. You can imagine needing to do research for them and come up with ideas and arguments. But essay prizes are wider than that. They include subjects like biology, chemistry, physics, medicine, maths, subjects that you wouldn't typically describe as including essays. What we mean when we say essay prizes is a competition that involves some research and some writing that proves to admissions officers at universities that you have what it takes to succeed at university. What exactly that process looks like, my colleague is going to cover with you. But you should start off by finding an essay prize and looking at the question. The questions can sometimes be quite abstract, and it's certainly not something that you would see in your typical A-level syllabus. That's what makes them so impressive. It will require you to identify some reading lists. Now, that can be anything from a traditional book to a newspaper article, a podcast, a television series. Even Netflix can be your friend here. So don't think that you have to keep yourself to a narrow brief. Wherever you take your influences from is completely legitimate. Once you've done some background research in reading, you'll start to form a plan, the ideas that you want to discuss. And finally, you'll write them down in an essay of typically between about 1,000 and 2,000 words. Now, this isn't your standard school homework. You might do a school homework in a couple of days, or maybe even a couple of minutes if you've forgotten a deadline. This is going to take you a bit longer. You're going to have to do that research on something you don't know about, and you're going to have to form an elegant argument. Now, when you submit this prize, it's not important to win it, although of course that's a good thing. The most important thing is that you enter it. What you need to do is put yourself in the shoes of admissions officers at universities. They see a student who has bothered to enter a competition like this and can mention in your personal statement just one or two of the ideas that you discussed. They're going to see that you have enthusiasm beyond the syllabus, that you have passion beyond the classroom, and that ultimately you should be the candidate to get that place to. So I'll pass over to my colleagues now. They'll take you through the next steps, And I hope this is the start of a great journey that leads at a successful university application at the end. Thanks, and bye.
Hello and welcome to our Libra Essay Prize guidance, where we will explain both a little bit about our own essay prize, as well as how essay prizes like this can really strengthen your academic repertoire, as well as some tips on how to write essays in general. My name is Mark Comfort. I'm the Education Manager at Libra Education, and we're very happy to be running this essay prize for the second year running, and we very much look forward to reading your work. So let's get into it. The first point to note for our essay prize is that it is based on the famous single word exam paper at All Souls College, Oxford, where students had 3 hours to write up to 6 sides on a single word. Very often it was an abstract concept that was represented by this word, and students had to come up with their own essay title in relation to this concept. Unfortunately, they don't do it anymore at All Souls College, but we think it's a great idea, and so we have decided to use the same format, as it gives a lot of flexibility for students when exploring a topic of their choice through an essay. So you can choose any of these concepts here: nature, change, language, thought, time, and culture. And you have the flexibility to explore it through which field you prefer, as well as which aspects of those fields you would like to explore. To give you an example, you could decide to explore the concept of nature through biology and philosophy together. Or you might decide to explore the concept of time through maths or physics, or perhaps both. The floor is very much open to you in terms of how you want to explore these concepts and which essay title you want to do in relation to this concept. Once you have picked your idea, you want to start researching and writing your essay. It should be between 1,000 and 2,000 words using Harvard-style referencing, as well as Harvard-style reference list or bibliography. Those are not included in your word count. And once you are happy with your essay, you can save it in this format here before emailing it to us to submit it. Now, we do also offer cash prizes for our essay prize. Of course, the true prize is to explore a subject that is close to your heart, but we do also offer cash prizes for the winners, and you can see them on the right-hand side of the screen here. We do also contact winners after the essay prize to get a review of what they thought about the essay prize and how can it be improved year on year. So that's a little summary of our essay prize in general. Let's move on then to some other key points. You should be aware that the deadline for submission of the Libra Essay Prize is 12 p.m. on the 25th of June 2021. So that's about 5 months from now. And winners are then announced 2 weeks afterwards. They'll be contacted by email to share these details and also to arrange payment for cash prizes. And all winning essays are published on our website in an article. If you want any more information, if you have any more questions on that particular side of it, please feel free to contact us at this email address here, admin@libraeducation.co.uk. You can also stay up to date with us by joining our newsletter. So if you're interested in hearing more essay writing tips, if you want to have any updates on the Libra Essay Prize, or if you want to just know more generally about university applications or education within the UK, please feel free to join our newsletter by visiting our website at libraeducation.co.uk. Okay, now on to some actual tips for writing essays. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these points here, as you can read them in your own time as well, but there are just a few key points that I really want to reference out of this summary. The first is to be specific and to be realistic. So these 2 bullet points here, when it says you don't have to read everything, it can be just a chapter, certainly true. Try and focus very specifically on extracts or parts that will be helpful for your research in then planning and writing your essay. It doesn't have to be the entire book, it doesn't have to be everything. It can just be an article, or it can just be a particular extract from a book to help you support your ideas, to help you support your arguments in your essay. The other point is that you should certainly be realistic in planning what you can do in the time you have, what you can read and what you can write in the time you have. I certainly remember being in university when I had essays due, of going to the library and checking out many more books than I'd be able to read in the time that I had to research and write and submit the essay. So certainly don't make that mistake. You want to be realistic in terms of what you can achieve in preparing for and writing this essay that you want to submit. Certainly, if you have other priorities as well as an A-level student, I'm sure that you have your own coursework, you have other exams to prepare for, so certainly make sure that you're allotting the right amount of time when you're planning how to prepare for this essay prize. The other key points I'd really like to pick out are regarding engaging critically with the text. This is something that I think most students find a little bit tricky to do. The key is to be able to come up with your own opinion in relation to other people's. It is always very boring if you agree entirely with another author, or if you disagree entirely with another author. You want to be able to critique other trains of thought, and through doing so come up with your own train of thought. And it might be that you will support that with evidence from other people. It might be that you will critique and adapt other people's concepts or the way that they think about things. But certainly you need to criticize. You need to say what is good, what is bad, and you need to come up with your own opinion through doing so. And the last point that I'd like to reference on this slide is our top tip. Now, most people tend to think that there are three separate sections, that you first research your essay or the topic, and then you write your essay, and then finally you redraft it and then submit it. In reality, those three stages tend to blend together a little bit more than you would think, because the best kinds of essays are the kinds which really force you to consider your opinion on a matter, in which you will research, begin writing, and then you'll hit a point in your essay where you realize that you need to do more research, or you need to revisit other ideas before coming back to writing. The best essays are ones where you discover your argument, where you discover your beliefs as you write and as you research. So don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board or to revise your opinion as you work through the process of writing the essay. Ideally, by the end, you will have a much clearer sense of your beliefs and of your opinion on a topic than when you originally started, and ideally it will have evolved in some ways, in that you will have a more comprehensive view of something. You'll also have a greater deal of research and evidence to back up your point of view on a matter. Okay, we're going to move on then. In terms of structure, we have our general guidance here on the slide for you to read. The only key points that I really want to reference from this would be my personal recommendation to students is that you start with your body paragraphs first. The introduction and the conclusion are more summary paragraphs more than anything else, which means they need to summarize what you have written in your essay. So if you begin by writing your body paragraphs and, as I said, exploring your opinion on a matter, developing it through the writing, then once you have written your body paragraphs, you will have a much better sense of your opinion and also of the essay that you have written, which will then prepare you to write a better introduction and a better conclusion, which summarizes the arguments and the ideas that you put forward in the rest of your essay. And of course, your essay structure, it exists solely to give a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, and to make it easier for the reader to understand your point of view, to follow your train of thought. So certainly you want to make sure that your essay structure makes it easier for the reader to understand your points of view. I would say the best way to create a sense of flow in your essay structure to help the reader with this would be when you are writing your essay to consider the last sentence of a paragraph and then the first sentence of the next paragraph, and to consider, do they flow nicely from one into the other? Is it very clear the link between these two paragraphs as evidenced by the final sentence and then the next sentence of the first sentence of the next paragraph? Okay, let's move on then and talk a little bit about referencing. So once again, you can see a great deal of information on the slide. The most commonly used referencing style in the UK at university is the Harvard referencing style. So that is the one that we use as well for our essay prize. You'll need to have references to any books or authors or sources as you quote them or as you reference them in your essay. You'll also need to have a reference list or bibliography at the very end, which summarizes all of the sources that you've used in writing your essay. My top tip for writing, for referencing as you're working through your essay, is to do it as you go along. So certainly don't write your essay entirely and then only then begin working on your references and your bibliography. It will double the amount of work that you have to do. So instead, as you are using sources, as you're putting them in to the essay, you want to make sure that you also take a note of the page that you found it on, the quote that you are giving, and you want to at that point write your reference and add them onto your bibliography at the very end. It will save you time in the long run. It also means that it is much easier to reference as you go along. Otherwise, if you leave it till afterwards, then you have to go back through all your work. You have to find the different sources. You need to remember which books and from where each quote or each piece of evidence came. So certainly, I would recommend that you do so as you go along, as you're writing your essay. Now, of course, please make sure you do your referencing and that you do a bibliography. The easiest way for us to disqualify any essay entry is by if they don't have adequate referencing or a reference list. It's also one of the key points when you're writing the essays at university, which your teachers will insist on, and that you will certainly lose marks for, or perhaps they will reject your essays entirely if they don't have this basic element of referencing and a reference list. Okay, let's move on then. So one of the big questions that we get regarding the essay prize is how to turn your abstract concept that you've chosen, how to then turn that into your essay title that you want to explore in the essay. Now here you can see 3 of the sample concepts that we've referenced as part of the essay prize, as well as some of the big questions that you can consider as part of that concept. We don't have any hard and fast guidance for how students can go about turning their concept into an essay title. My advice to you would be to choose an aspect of the concept that you find most interesting, that you want to explore in greatest detail, or that you find perhaps concerning about this concept. It has to be something that comes from you, and it has to be something that you are interested in, that you are willing to commit this time and energy towards. If you are stuck, then I would suggest if you at least know your concept, then you can at least research a little bit about that concept and different aspects it will have for different subjects. And that is a good way to try and find what you would most like to write about. Okay, let's move on then. Now to finish our essay prize guidance, we have 2 examples of good essays that we would like to explore with you just to show what constitutes really good academic writing with an essay. So here we have one for English. You can take some time to read through it. The immediate things which one would notice if you have a trained eye for looking at academic writing would be the referencing to begin with, not just referencing of any writer, but referencing quite a prestigious writer. So Virginia Woolf is a well-known writer, and the fact that there is a very high quality of vocabulary being used to explore the essay title. Okay, let's take a look at another one now, not for English, this time for biology. So give you some time just to read through it, and then we will take a look at what we might say is particularly good about this example of an essay. Now, I'm aware there's not much time, just a moment for you to scan through. You will see once again it has bibliography, it has referencing, it also has a good number of statistics, a number of facts, so it is using evidence to back it up quite well. It also gives you a sense of context before going on to exploring the essay title itself. So it gives a background against which to set the rest of their essay. One other key point to note from it is that it has a very engaging writing style. So it uses humor in some points, which is a good skill to learn. Whenever you're writing essays or academic pieces of work, remember that whoever is reading them, whether it is your admissions officer who's reading your personal statement, whether it is your teacher at school who's reading your essay, or whether it is another university academic, then you need to be aware that they're probably going to have to read lots of different pieces of work by lots of different students. And everything that you can do to make it easier for them to read it, to make it more enjoyable for them to read your work, is for the better. It also means that it is slightly clearer to them what your points are, and they'll be able to give you more precise feedback on how to improve your work. It also shows that you have greater control of your writing, and shows that you're quite confident in your knowledge on the topic. Okay, now those are all the points that we wanted to go through with you today for essay writing. Like I say, if you have any further questions at all, please feel free to contact us at this email address, and we very much look forward to reading your work. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.